Right, started building this wall. Wraps around there. It's a bit tricky because it's an overhang, so I sort of shoved it right up in there. So I just stopped what I was doing so I could show you guys. And I'll show you, I'll just fill in this little bit here. I'll record that and might time lapse the rest of it. It's all pretty straightforward. You want, a good height flange, so you can drill holes in it, put bolts in it, and bolt it back together. I've just started going around the front there. I might try and use more of this stuff down the front because it's pretty straight. Just clumps of clay. Nothing fancy. So I'll continue on with that. I might throw you on time lapse. The issue is I don't want to keep touching my phone with these gloves, and I don't want to keep wasting gloves. So I'll try and use my knuckle to turn the camera off. There's the second wall done. First one. Some of these joins, you can just see it. There's that cello tape, packing tape. That's the perfect thing for covering those. Looks a bit rough, but it'll do the job fine. I had a thought, because I want to modify this body and get rid of the door handles and those things. It's focusing on my hand. So I want to get rid of those, get rid of this line up here and that line and that thing and the windscreen. So what I'm thinking of doing is basically making another wall down here and have the whole rear section, because I'm not going to change anything on the rear. The only changes are going to be on the front. So have the whole rear section as one piece and sort of make it modular. So when I modify the front part, I'll just mold up to the rear mold. So I'll bolt the mold back on, mold up to there, and then just create a new front half. And that way I'll have 2 or 3 front half molds and just one back half mold. That'll save me time and material. And I think that's a pretty good idea. Oops. Just joking. The wall's held up fine to being tipped on its side. I sort of almost dropped it. Didn't fall far, but I was worried that they would come unstuck a little bit. But they're all good. So basically from here down, you can create another wall, flat side on this side, and then mold this part. And this is why I built this stand, because trying to, fiberglass down these edges, or here, if it's standing upright, that's past vertical, it'd be impossible to mold this. So on its side like this is the only way to do it. So I'll build this wall and I might get some wax on there. Just let the wax sit on there for a while. What's the time at the moment? I don't know. Anyway, build this wall. I'll do a time lapse of that. Should be pretty quick. There it is. Probably only took like 20 seconds for you guys. Took me about, I would say 5 minutes. Just exactly the same as the other ones. Just a bit shorter, that's all. And a whole lot easier because it's just a straight bit with a couple little corners, whereas that's, you know, full corner. I'll show you the back of this one. Just clamps the clay, just like the other one. That's all it needs. There's not going to be any weight on it, or not a huge amount of weight anyway. Yeah, wraps around there. So next step is wax, floor wax. I'll show you the products I'm going to be using. Yeah. Right, so first step will be applying this stuff, mold release wax. You basically just polish it on there. Gloves, very important. Disposable brushes, the cheapest ones you can get. PVA. Anyway, this coats over the top of the wax and is basically like a plastic film that goes between your body or whatever you're trying to mold and the gel coat. When it heats up, when it's curing, the wax will melt. This stuff won't. The wax, how do I say it? It melts, but it still stays there. So it's like counter wax, it solidifies. Scales, just a cheap set. These go up to 5 kilos or 177 ounces. In this tub here is what they call it, cotton flock. It's basically talcum powder. You mix that up with resin and you can use it as a filler for tight corners. So the sheets, the cloth over there doesn't like to bend in like a 90-degree corner. So down in there. So if you try to fiberglass in here, it would delaminate and you get holes, air bubbles. So that stuff, you'd fill all this up with that stuff and it'd be just as strong, but no air bubbles. A couple of buckets. That's some water I was using with the clay, doesn't matter. Scissors. I got my general purpose resin. That's a 20-kilo bucket, and then the white gel coat. For the mold, I'll be using this stuff. So all my molds will be blue, and all my bodies will come out white. It's just easier than trying to make blue bodies with a white mold. So that's pigment paste. It won't be that dark, it'll go light. And the catalyst in here. So that's what I got. Yeah, it's organic. What do you know? Very nasty stuff. There it is. NEKP catalyst. Always use, whenever you're fiberglassing or working with fiberglass, use a respirator, gloves, I've got some full body suits as well. Consolidating rollers. These help flatten out your fiberglass, just like that. Helps get rid of all the air bubbles. That's also fiberglass. That's the